you guys real quick about squat variations, right? Lower body building. Now I get a lot of questions where people say, well, should I be back squatting? Should I be front squatting? Should I have a close stance, a wide stance? What should I do, right? And so when you are picking a squat variation, understand that one squat is not better than all the other squats all across the board, right? It really depends on what muscles you're trying to target, right? So you have back squatting, right? But then along with back squatting, you have high bar back squatting, you have low bar back squatting, you have sumo squatting, right? And then with front squatting, you have a conventional front squat, you have modified front squats, you have ZERCHER squats, which is a type of front-loaded squat. You have all kinds of different ones, right? And so of the 5 variations that I've just named, I'm going to explain a little bit about the differences between them and why you may want to choose them. All right, so let's start off with the most commonly used barbell squat, which is the conventional barbell back squat. Now, the reason why this is so commonly used, or the most commonly used, is because it's not as technical, right? So it's very easy to get right, and there's a lot of room for error, right? You don't need a top-notch level of core strength and torso stability. You don't need shoulder mobility to get a real good front rack position as if you would with a front squat, right? So basically all you got to do is just place the bar right on your traps and go to work, right? And so being that there is a lot more room for error, you don't need as much core strength, it's really all mainly focused on loading the legs, right? So placing that bar on your back is going to allow you to squat a lot more weight than you would be able to as if you were doing a front squat, being that there's not as much emphasis on core strength. So then aside from that, we got the low bar back squat. And so this is pretty much practically the same as the conventional barbell squat, barbell back squat, but the difference is on the low bar squat, as opposed to the bar sitting right on top of your traps, it's gonna sit lower on your traps, right on top of your rear delts, right? So it's gonna be a couple inches lower, right? So this kind of changes your center of gravity, which may make this squat a lot easier. Now, also a key difference between the conventional barbell back squat and a low bar squat is there's gonna be more of a torso tilt. There's gonna be more of a bend at the hip and less of a bend at the knees, right? So you may want to do this if you don't have, if your ankle mobility isn't quite good, right? And so the thing is, with the high bar back squat or the conventional back squat, in order to get all the way down in that bottom position, not only do you need a lot of mobility in the hip, but you also need enough mobility in the ankle joint, right? And so with the low bar squat, being that there's more of a bend at the hip, you really don't need to bend as much at the ankle. Now, another key thing that you should know with the low bar squat is the main focus on this type of squat is going to be on the glutes and hamstrings and a lot less on the quads. So if you're trying to build your quadriceps a little bit more, you may want to just bite the bullet and really focus on ankle mobility, maybe getting a pair of weightlifting shoes and placing that bar a little higher up on your traps to get more vertical. And that will allow you to hit your quadriceps more. All right, so next up is going to be the sumo barbell back squat. And so the key difference here with this squat is the stance. The stance is a lot wider. This means that you're gonna get a lot more activation out of your glute medius, right? For those of you who don't know what the glute medius is, the glute medius is the muscle that sits right on top of the glute maximus, right? And when you develop that muscle creates that shelf, that roundness at the top of the glute, right? So you can get a nice full round glute. So this is especially important for the ladies, right? Where you're trying to get that nice round perfect butt, and you really develop your glute maximus, but not your glute medius, so it's not quite complete, right? Aesthetically. So if that's the case with you, you definitely want to invest in putting a sumo squat into your lower body training. And so having that wide stance is going to force you to push your knees out and really turn that glute medius on, okay? Now, in the sumo squat, there's not a whole lot of activation in the inner thighs, those adductor muscles, and the hamstrings. So the primary movers are going to be the glute maximus, the glute medius, and the quadriceps. Now, an added perk to this is you also don't need the ankle mobility that you would in a conventional back squat to get all the way into the bottom, right? You also don't need to go as low in a sumo squat. Okay, so you can really focus on those quadriceps that way as well, and you can even squat more weight this way, being that all of the emphasis is mostly on the glute max and the glute medius. So moving on to the barbell front squat, the most technical barbell squat, in my opinion, aside from the overhead squat, but I'm not going to get into that now because it's shoulders and legs, so I'm not going to count that. But the barbell front squat is the most technical of the barbell squats, at least of the ones that I'm going to talk about now. And the reason for that is because you need a lot more torso stability, you need a lot more core strength, but you also need a lot more shoulder mobility in order to have and maintain a good, comfortable front rack position where you can squat while, of course, keeping the bar in position. Right? So this is super important because when you're front squatting and you lose that rack position, you end up dumping the weight. Right? And so this can be very frustrating when you just want to hit your legs and go hard, but you don't really have the technique down. Now, even though it's technical, you shouldn't avoid the front squat because there's a lot of benefits to it. Okay? You will really develop your quadriceps in a front squat. In my opinion, way more than you would with any of the back squats. And the reason for that is because it's a lot more of a vertical position with that weight in front of you, right? And so there's going to be a lot more demand for you to fire through the quadriceps rather than stick your butt out to compensate, right? Which is the thing, when people have weak quadriceps, they tend to really push their butt out and lean the torso more so as a way to compensate for weak quadriceps. So if you have weak quadriceps and you really want to improve your squat form, front squatting is definitely a way to go, right? And on top of that, being that the front squat requires a lot more thoracic extension to really keep that chest up and get tall and vertical in the squat position, that's going to improve your posture, so that'll benefit with your deadlift, that'll benefit with your posture and your physique, your posing, all types of stuff. And of course it carries over to all of your other squats, right? So you can actually develop your lower body physique a lot more effectively and squat a lot more efficiency. Well, squat with a lot more efficiency. I kind of hacked that up a little bit, I can't talk. So then the fifth and final barbell squat is the barbell ZERCHER squat. And so this is actually a great alternative front squat for those who don't have the technique down with the barbell front squat. You're new to front squatting, you don't really have the technique down, start with the ZERCHER squat first. And there are some benefits to this that are very specific to a ZERCHER squat because it's not as technical and the barbell is a lot closer to the floor, right? So this makes the movement easier because you don't need as much torso stability and core strength with the ZERCHER squat. So this helps you have a much stronger mind-muscle connection with your legs when you're squatting. So definitely give this one a go if you're new to front loading on your squat. So closing statements on the topic here. I actually wrote an article on Tribe by Noire TV where I give video tutorials to all these squats and give some pointers on form and different things like that. So it's a little bit more information. This video is more of an abbreviated version. So if you want all of the information, you want the video tutorials and everything like that, I'm going to leave a link in the description. So go ahead and click that and you can get access to the whole written article and all of the other articles that I've written in the past. And having said that, I got to go ahead and do some other work and get in the gym and train and hit my core and all that fun stuff. So I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.